Okay.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Welcome again to today's training session, week 3, day 2 on market access, session 1 of 2025. So what we will do is we will run through what we covered on Monday to basically bring all of us up to speed with what was actually covered. And then after that, we'll hand over again to my colleague, Edwin Alum, to proceed. And after that, then at the very tail end, we will zero in on the assignments and have all of us present do our own presentation. And these presentations are very, very critical because one, they enhance our skills. And then two, it is actually on the basis of us adhering to sharing of our presentations in good time that then we will be in a position to be able to grade you people so that at least there is a confirmation that we attended this very, very important classroom. But most importantly is the skills that you bring across, skills that come from us, the trainers, and skills that we also gain out of the cross-learning because all of us here have got something to share to the team. So briefly, this is how the session went on. And basically just giving you a summary of what it was. And then after that, we'll actually then be able to proceed with the remaining part of the day session. And of course, guide you on, sorry, I think I'm sharing. I'm not sharing the correct slide, so just give me 1 minute. Bring out the correct slide. Bring out the correct slide. What's happening? That level. Just bear with me, gentlemen. Just bear with me just a little bit. I get hold of the correct slide, and then we proceed with the session as usual. Okay. So just let me just set it up. Let me just set up the session. Yes, so thank you very much. We want to go through the takeaways for lesson 1 of module 3. And then after that, I will hand over to my colleague, Edwin Alum, to proceed from where we left. And of course, after that, we will venture into the presentations based on the assignments that we did share in the last session that we had on Tuesday. Are we seeing my slide?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, and thank you so very much. The whole thing is about how to develop your competitiveness and the pricing strategy. Pricing did indicate that among the marketing mix, all of them, 4 of them, the main 4 marketing mix, pricing is actually critical because it is actually through the price that revenue gets into the organization. So this one was discussed into length, and thereafter, upon handing over to my colleague Edwin Alum, you actually managed to go through the break-even point and how we can actually go through the break-even point and how important it is. Now, the most important and first point was on the trade channels and market segment. This was actually section 1. And we went further because trade channels has got so many dynamics intertwined with it. One of them is actually the middleman. And we ask ourselves one question. Is the middleman a good person or is it a bad person for our various enterprises, right? Because we do appreciate that before the goods leave our premises, on a number of occasions, they pass through somebody else before they get to the final destination. So that is the role that a middleman actually does. And that middleman, in another level, can actually be referred to as a distribution. So it is on that basis that we actually also zeroed in on distribution channel functions. And one of the functions of distribution channel, we realized was actually about information. The distribution channel is actually endowed with a lot of information to be able to help the distribution channel to get your goods and services to the various market destinations. Without that information, then it is not possible. So that is function number 1 of the distribution channel. Function number 2 is about promotion. The distribution channel should be that which is in a position to promote the products as they get cascaded across the different market destinations. And of course, another function is the contact. It also comes with contacts, because without contacts, you cannot actually be able to identify the various market segments that you operate into. The distribution channels, another function is about negotiation. They negotiate for the products that we distribute through them with the final market destination. Then eventually, another function is physical distribution. It is a function that is at we can actually call it the core business activity of any distribution channel. And of course, at times, the distribution channels also offer a financing function, which is also very, very important, but also very rare. But distribution channels, of course, on a number of occasions also offer financing solutions. So those are some of the functions that we covered. And again, we covered basic distribution channels, where we were actually talking about different categories, where number one, from the producer to the consumer, and then another level from the producer to the distributor to the consumer, from the producer to the distributor to the retailer to the consumer. We discussed all this in the last session, and they're still available on the e-learning platform. For those who can actually, for those who have not gone through it. So you need actually to go through the last recording to be able to appreciate this if you did not attend this lesson. And at level 2, we spoke about consideration on distribution channels. So we spoke about market considerations, which of course we ended up unpacking, product considerations, and company considerations. Then finally, we addressed the supply chain models, where we emphasize on the grower-packer model, which normally is actually at either the local and the regional level, and of course also covered vertical integration as another supply chain model that of course is gaining currency quite a lot. But remember, a vertical integration requires a lot of financing, because it then means that you are the farmer producing the goods, you are the transporter, you are the processor, you are the exporter, you are the importer, right? So that is how vertical integration works. Then, of course, we moved on to cover financial planning, where we did estimation of cost and setting of prices, a factor that we said would actually help one succeed in the market. In this particular case, we spoke about, pricing fundamentals, and then we moved on to cover classification of cost, direct versus indirect cost, fixed versus variable cost. Then, of course, this led us into the discussion of the break-even points, and we spoke about some of these elements that we need to consider. We discussed the definition of break-even point, the cost of the product, variable cost, fixed cost, and of course the price and the gross profit margin. So in the process, we're actually able to do a bit of some calculations to be able to appreciate some of these very key concepts when it comes to developing your competitive and pricing strategy. So that's a brief in terms of what was covered in the last session. Then I think after that, I would wish to stop sharing my screen and then invite my colleague Edwin to please proceed from that point before we move to the next level. Thank you so much for listening, and most welcome, Gadi. Edwin, the floor is yours.
Great, excellent. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Abraham, for taking your time, and Gadi, who keeps coming in and out. Even as the others come in, Abraham, I think you have now the gist. Yes, I can hear you. I think you now know, or at least understand what we went through last week, last session, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And this is also available in the recording that Tom shared, and also it is uploaded on the e-learning platform. But before I go on, have you been able to get into the e-learning platform yourself?
No, not exactly.
Because we are on week 3, I would encourage you to get in, because there's a lot to cover, so that you don't go and do it as a tick the box sort of exercise, and you're able to make the most of the resources that are there.
Okay.
But
thank you.
But for now, we're just going to pick up where we left, and I will share my screen.
Okay.
Shortly. Second. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it very well.
Can see.
Yeah, great. Let me just make presentation mode. We left, this is where we were before we closed the session last time. And it's basically developing a competitive advantage to differentiate yourself and make the impact in the market. So whatever you're selling, whatever the company is about, whatever service you're providing, you have to be able to develop a competitive advantage so that someone or the customers or the consumers prefers your product or your services and are able to pay what you believe the value is, and actually differentiate you, make you a part, or somebody can say this is Abraham's brand or this is Gadi's brand, and for the reason why we like going here is 1, 2, 3. So this is what we are going to look at, some of the how you can do that. So obviously you have local, regional, you have international competition. Locally, I'm sure you have, for example, in your case, I'm sure you have other producers of mango, other producers of avocado in Malawi. You have different people who are doing what you're doing. And the fact that they're doing what you're doing, and somehow there is enough market for both of you, but then how do you bring yourself out to get an advantage over the competitors, or at least to set yourself apart? So everything that you're doing should lead to developing of a competitive advantage. So these are the actions in the value chain, either from production all the way to the end consumer, that makes you apart or sets you apart from your competitors. This could be the product itself, how you package it. It could be your marketing strategy. It could be your price. It could be how fast you respond to queries. It could be your customer care and all those things. It's not one shoe fits all. Some of the key fundamentals which we are going to look about is the comparative advantage. This is what we are trying to talk about. What can you do? And how are you naturally advantaged in this? For example, Tom was asking you when we were starting this call about the cocoa industry in Ghana. And you'll find that Ghana and the West Africa, the Cote d'Ivoires of this world, have an advantage of climate, have an advantage of soil, have an advantage over, let's say, East Africa in the growing of cocoa. I mean, Tom would like to do cocoa, but he's not going to beat somebody in West Africa. We'll have to do quite a lot before we can even produce even enough to compete with Ghana. Same as tomatoes or rather onions in Egypt, where it is almost impossible to compete with them, or garlic in China. So if you're a producer of garlic, for example, and you want to compete with China, how do you differentiate yourself? In this case, China has a higher comparative advantage over yourself based on the geographical location. But then if you bring it back home, there is a natural advantage of a country or a company over the other producers. This is what we're talking about. And you take advantage, this advantage of your country, or advantage of even the trade, what are it called, agreements that your country probably has that another country does not have. So for example, within SADC or within ECOWAS, you can trade better than if I or Tom or somebody in East Africa or Southern Africa was trying to sell something in West Africa. And then there is a competitive advantage. We also touched on this. So you will find that either you will have a lower cost, which improves your profitability. This lower cost also can help you lower your price without affecting your margins significantly. So then what happens? You have an advantage where you can, let's say your labor is cheaper in, for example, your country than it is in let's say Zimbabwe. Then it means you have a competitive advantage in that case. Or where you are, there's a region you're telling us is colder. So you find that it is harder to get to the hilly parts of the country than for you probably who is nearer the city of Accra. So those are some of the competitive advantages you have over your the other people also producing or selling what you're selling.
Yeah.
Then here we wanted just to do a quick whatever brainstorm and who are your key competitors? You know them. What source of information do you have on them? Are they in the local market? Are they in the regional market? Are they in the export market? And throughout this market access program, we've been talking about regional, local, export, and also we've been discussing quite a lot about competition even before we go to this session. But on this one, because we are 2 or 3 of us, and I think Gadi also just stepped out. So who would be your competitors in the local market? Let's say if we just brainstorm quickly, what do you know about them? How do you identify them? What information do you gather on them? Abraham, you can probably go first and tell us what source of information you have to identify your competitors. What source of information do you have to identify in the local, regional, and export market?
Okay, thank you very much. Excuse me. Hello, inga meeting ko meeting ko. Thank you very much. Okay, in our local markets here, as I've said, I'm into mango production, and as far as the competitive advantage is concerned, is that in the first place, I produce quality mango. Quality mango is such a way that I apply the necessary chemicals at the right time. Being an agricultural officer myself is another advantage. I'll be able to apply most of the pesticides and those that can make the mango quite very attractive. One of the competition on the markets, as far as the mango is concerned, is the color. At least the color should be appealing for people to this. Apart from the color, the taste also matters. It should taste, and then the texture of the mango itself. Then the price of the mango also is another thing, because when the customers come to buy my this thing, I'm not rigid about my price. We negotiate, and when I feel that it is quite okay, just say. Other competitors don't do that. So pricing too is another thing. Then sometimes customer relationship, the way you relate with your customers is another advantage. I'm very sober and very compromised as far as market relationship is concerned. So besides, I produce at the right time, and I respond to customers at the right time. So these are some of the competitive advantages I have as far as my production is concerned.
Okay, but thank you very much, Abraham. But what I hear you say is what your competitive advantage is. What I'm asking for is how or what sources of information do you have to identify your competitors? What are some of the sources of information? Do you get this from the media? Do you get it from their social media pages? Do you how do you get information on your competitors, whether in the local, in the regional, or in the export market?
Okay, on the local basis, well, it is the customers who sometimes bring the information. Most of the information comes from the customers, because from the middle people who come to buy, so they bring the report about, they give information about the competitiveness of my products. So the information is locally from the middleman who comes to buy the product.
Okay, so you get majority of information from consumers of your product, which is great.
Yeah.
What about any other? Do you check their social media pages? Are they on? I mean, today we are in an era where people have their social media handles. People do not advertise or people also don't give information generally on the traditional media. I hope you're using some of this as one of the ways to get information about your competitors, not just customers, because customers might also tend to mislead, quote unquote. It's not always about, because they also have their own objectives. It's not they're coming to you and telling you Tom's mangoes are terrible. They're probably telling you that so that you can either get a discount from you or something else. But excellent information. We can probably also ask Christine. Christine, welcome. What sort of, how do you get or identify your competition? What sources of information do you use to do that? Christine, karibu.
Good afternoon. For me, our competitors, we know them by meeting at the market, like for the local market. We know them through like WhatsApp groups, because they also say we're selling veggies or we're selling tomatoes. That's how we also get to know them. But otherwise, it's through meeting them at the market, because we have one local market. And then our competitive advantage is that, say, our climate is cold. For say our peas is higher quality than theirs. It's higher yielding because we are in a warmer area, and there is enough also chilling in Jari. It's also very cold, but then it also gets warm. So that works on our export market. That's how we know them, because we then, those we only know on the media for that market. But for the local market, we just meet at the market. Nothing fancy.
No, excellent. WhatsApp has become a very key source of information, where there are farmer WhatsApp groups, exporter WhatsApp groups, all manner of WhatsApp groups where you can get information on your fingertips, even before it hits your email or before it hits the traditional media. And I think, thank you for mentioning that. Gadi, do you have any information or sources of information that are different from the ones mentioned?
Yeah, okay. My source of information for things, because my products are mainly targeting the export market, which can be regional or international. I've mainly used the websites as well as the B2B platform trade places. These are places where we're able to know who our competitors are, what are they offering, at what price they're offering, because there are so many B2B trading places around there which are able to. So that's why also we do put our products over there. So on there, when we are putting our products, we also browse to what our friends are offering and what price they're offering, what are their conditions. So that's the place where we normally find more information about our places. And also, when we find them, we also go to their websites, see what they do, how they're doing it, and what we can do better, or what we can do to make sure that we are unique to them. Those are places where I normally do. Thank you.
Oh, excellent. I mean, websites are a good place. Also, some of the tools that Tom shared earlier, like ITC website, there are many portals where you can find, what people are doing. The information nowadays is everywhere. There's some Chinese companies that have come up with all the data of all products leaving every port. They have a tool that they are selling. I've not bought it, but they keep writing me emails. And they've done a demo with the tool, and you can see every single shipment from every single person in every part of the world living. So they've collected this information from the shipping lines, from the airlines, from all manner of sources, and consolidated it. All you need to do is filter and find the information that you need. So information, number one, is power. Information is the only way to stay ahead. It's no longer producing the best product, but it's information. Because if you lag on information, then even you can get obsolete. You can be doing a great job, but become obsolete. For example, now that we know that Zimbabwe is shipping its peas, like the Christian can confirm this, they are shipping their peas by sea. Then the price has really changed. So who is going to, they can ship by sea, and they'll ship very huge quantities. So that price is going to be probably half the price for air shipment. So most customers will start shying away from air shipments in Kenya or in other countries, and buy from countries that are producing and selling by sea. And those are some of the information that you need to have and find out, okay, how do we adapt What is it that we can do? How do we consolidate and use that information? We took a lot of time there, but like I was telling you, if you want to identify existing markets, there is FAO website to find export routes, ITC, which Tom had shared earlier. We can get that. We can get information on that. You can, I mean, the Chinese tool I was telling you about, I'm going to find it, probably post the link here if I can. And EU Chamber of Commerce website. There's all manner of, nowadays with online, you can get information anyway. There is this is the FAO. This is a link that is available for you in the e-learning platform. Just go to it. You can see the prices there. You can see the producers, the consumer price index, pesticide indicators, some of the issues we were talking about in the first or second training about the requirements of different countries. So this is a very good tool where you can check all that. Again, Google is always your best bet in some of these, and it is also free. So like Gadi was telling us, you just go Google the website, you will find it. You'll find the pictures, you'll find what they've been up to, you will find what other people are doing, even if they're not your competitor today, but that's where you want to go, or that's how you want to position yourself in the market. You're going to find that there. And it is the cheapest. You don't need to go travel or go into an exhibition to find that out. So you'll find where the product is from. You look at the product offerings. You'll find the links to the retail clients. You'll find the websites, like you're saying, and research quite a lot more. And this is a competitive analysis framework. This is one of the exercises we had given. Anyone did it? Anyone willing to share what they did? Abraham, were you able to do this one?
No, not exactly.
And Christine? Christine, were you able to look at a competitive analysis?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm quite ready.
Okay, and what about Gadi?
But I can present it because I just did about one product which I do offer.
That's it. That's all we need. Just if you want, you can present it now.
But right now I cannot present it because I'm not at my PC. I can just explain to you that I did it about the. Hello?
I'm saying now you can tell us if you don't have it on your PC.
Yeah, what I did about avocado. I did about avocado because I said it's for me. I did about avocado, and I said because in this country, Malawi, I don't have any competitor who is well established to be producing avocado oil because my products mean avocado oil. Locally, I don't have any competitor who's producing at a large scale. I've got people who do it, but just.
Did we lose Gadi, or is it me not able to hear him?
Yeah, sorry, my internet is poor. Yeah, I mean, I hope you can bear with me. I'll try again.
I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So locally, I don't have any computer, but I find that most computers.
Okay, Gadi has left. Based on this, Christine, do you want to have a go at it as we wait for Gadi? Oh, Gadi is back.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I'm not bringing up. I mean, it's not my fault. Please bear with me, right? It's not me. It's my internet. It's not stable here.
No problem.
I hope we can bear. So, I mean, I find that the biggest competitor which I've got is based in Mbeya, in Tanzania. He's the one who is the biggest competitor. The advantage, he has got so many advantages that he has got a very big established machinery. He has got a very big established orchard, and he has got a very big established
That is in Mbeya in Tanzania.
All right. Okay, I think you can go on, sir. Sorry, I mean, I wish I could, but
no problem. I think, Christine, would you want to have a crack at it even if you don't have a presentation? Christine? Is Christine with us?
Yes, I can.
You can try. You can try maybe this competitive analysis framework. Based on the little information or a lot of information that you have, you can pick even probably one
Okay, maybe I
competitor
should try
that you
to
know. Go ahead. Okay, he has left. Christine, go ahead. Just go ahead, Christine. Yes, Christine has also left.
No, I'm here.
Christine
I'm
is
here.
with us. Go for it, Christine. Go for it. Christine, you're on mute. You're on mute. So what we are saying is you can pick one competitor and just tell us based on what we have on the screen, what you probably know about them.
Okay. So say there's competitor one, which is let's call them Nyati. So Nyati has 90 workers. That's the number of employees. It was founded in 2006. Their funding is self-funded. Their investors are in the Netherlands, which is their market. Acquisitions, I don't know about the acquisitions. Their number of customers, they've got about 4 clients that they supply, that we also supply. Their strengths or weaknesses, their strengths are in volumes. Their weaknesses is quality. And then if I go down to target customer message, products here is Munch 2Ps. Primary buyer is fresh to go. Secondary buyer, fresh for you. Target customer is fresh to go. Messaging, I don't know that one. Then the product specific, the product features, they've got nice packaging, I would say, a biodegradable panels. Their pricing, they were $4.20. I don't know what the free tire is. Customers, yeah, I think they've got all the retail customers. Product strength, like I said, they've got the quantity. Product weakness is quality. Then the customer reviews, they're okay with the product. It's on the market. It's accepted on the export market. Then positioning, how to win. I would go for quality and not quantity, because I'll try to be the opposite of them. Why should the customer choose us? They should choose us for quality and not quantity. I don't know if I've attempted it right.
No, that's the way you're supposed to do it. Also an impressive one, given the spur of the moment kind of presentation. So if you know all this, all you need to do is wherever they look like they are weak, make sure you're strongest on that one. And wherever you feel like you're weaker than them, you can now maybe plan your expansion strategies or plan your growth strategies around the areas where you are stronger or areas where you sense there's a weakness on the other side. So for example, if you talk about their quality not being as great as yours, then you can produce more at better quality so that again you maintain, what is it called, like you become the preferred supplier of these two customers that you share. And obviously, and look for more. And if you talk about pricing, you can check whether if the customers already accept a higher price for that, there is no problem. But long story short, that is where it's supposed to be. And you can do that for 2 or 3 competitors for some of the products you have specifically, like Gadi was telling us about avocado. And that's it. It's not a very complicated exercise. So you can do that on your free time for your product, and you can share with us if you have any challenges. We'll help you for areas or things that you do not know.
Okay.
Any question, Abraham?
Oh, I think. Okay. What I want to ask is that when you are told the competitiveness of the the products, there are so many implications about the competitiveness. So sometimes quality determines everything. So with the competitiveness, what are some of the weaknesses that go with competitiveness? What are one of the weaknesses?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. What is the question?
Analyzing competitiveness.
There is a part of that sentence I'm not getting. The first part. What is the question? Just ask it again. Sorry, I probably missed a part of the sentence.
The weaknesses that is involved in competitiveness. That's what I'm looking at.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I get you very well, but let me attempt. So you're asking about the weaknesses involved in competitiveness. So competitiveness does not mean you lower your quality, as you have heard. Christine just told us that you will find that they are stronger in quality, and they don't need to lower it to match the competitor. All they need to do is they don't need to lower their quality at all to meet that, to become competitive with the other person. What they need to do is probably out if the customer can pay more for better quality, and also find out if the customer is buying the lower quality, where is the customer taking it? So that probably if she produces a lower tier of product, then she can also sell it to the customer, because sometimes not all product is tier 1 or export grade or grade A or grade 1, depending on what you're selling. So it's not for you to lower your quality. It's not for you to just lower your price because maybe somebody's price is low, but it is for you to communicate the value. When we were talking about pricing last time, we said that communicate the value and make sure that value can attract the premium that you want without compromising your quality, because sometimes you can go and compromise the quality, and the only reason that the customer was buying from you was the quality. They are okay to buy the bad quality substandard quality from others, but from you, they just wanted that type of quality. So these are some of the things you must be careful about, even as you listen, and make sure that you attain a balance that benefits your company. It is not for you to go copy what other people are doing blindly, but for you to find out, okay, fine, where am I positioned in all this? So that is even one of it here is what it's called brand positioning, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yes. So we'll go on.
Clear.
Go ahead. Any other questions? Sorry. Abraham, you okay? Abraham, you okay? Everything okay?
Okay, I'll always say this thing. How about if you, like for me, I always say that my supply.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Go ahead, Gadi. Gadi was asking a question. Gadi, you can go ahead, or you can type it on the chat box. I'll read it and I'll be able to respond. Okay, as you wait for Gadi.
I'm back, sorry. I'll try. Actually.
Okay, now you can ask. Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, it can be taken niche, like big buyers, big companies, and there's a certain niche of companies who are not buying too much. They just need a certain quantity, and then from that you can be competitive. You cannot be competitive. They're not looking for too much, but they're looking enough because there's strict on that, if you understand. Is that not competitive enough?
I don't know if I heard everything correctly because I think the internet is still breaking, but I hear you talking about big customers and something to do with niche market or niche positioning. Is that correct?
Yeah. These big suppliers who are supplying big companies, big.
Sorry, I think you're breaking.
I wish you could
Maybe what you
basically
can
type.
do, yes, you can type it on the chat box, then it's easier for me to read and just respond. Just type it, Gadi, the way you're speaking it, because it's a very important question, and then we can just address it. We don't have a lot of material to cover, and it's important that we answer some of these questions.
Well,
even
my
for the
point, okay,
benefit.
listen, I'll try my last one time. I'm saying you have got big companies supplying big companies. Now you have got a certain kind of companies who have got a certain constrained budget. They just want small quantities. They just want a certain kind of things which they afford. And then then you're saying that as my business, I just want to target those companies. They don't want too much. They don't want to have big budgets, but they want the product. And then they've got kind of a niche of companies where I say, well, they don't want too much, but you can be supplying them. Cannot be competitive enough. You're not competing with big guys, but you are a niche of business, which is these companies which want small amount, small quantity, and they just want to be supplied to fulfill their budget. If you understand.
No, I think I get what you're saying, but if I was to answer you in a different way, is that first of all, your competitor, if you say somebody is a very big supplier, is probably not your competitor.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already above you in the chain, and you're coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're coming up, sometimes it's easier to supply maybe a distributor that supplies a retailer. But for a bigger company, they may even supply the retailer directly. Like Christine, I think, was in the last session, was telling us, they started by being just a grower and a packer. And later on, they did the vertical integration where they now produce, they grow, they pack, and then they sell even sometimes to the end consumers. But that takes time. It's not that you just wake up and decide, you know what, I want to sell to Tesco and I must sell to Tesco. Tesco will have some conditions that maybe you might not meet as a smaller player, because number one, the payments might be too long for you. So cash flow constraints will come in. Number two, they might want configurations that probably your facilities cannot be able to take care of. Configurations like what? They want certain palletizing, and they want it every third day. I mean, deliver it to their doorstep. You don't have the infrastructure.
That's right.
So you'll find that you can sell to their buyers, because they also have regional buyers, and then the buyers will sell to them. So, but what you make sure you do is that your competitive advantage must be maintained. If it is quality, especially when you are a smaller player, quality is much better than quantity, because that's the way you move up. You never move up because of quantity.
And even price as well.
Even price, for sure.
Even
You
also
never
cost.
move up because of quantity. Yeah. It's either price or the quality. But also on the quality, it opens up, it gives you an opportunity to discuss the price. Without good quality, even discussing the price is chaotic. And probably Christine will be able to tell us what happened with the tobacco that was supposed to go on the open floor. I don't know if that happened. And we had given her some advice. She's able to negotiate because she has the capacity and the quality. But as a small player, sometimes negotiating is very difficult, because even though you have the quality, you don't have where to sell it. So sometimes you're dead in the water.
That's right. My point is, okay, because my business is B2B, right? I don't do the reverse, B2B. Now you have got these small players in this B2B scenario, B2B, whereby we have got big guys as well as small guys. And if you can say, okay, I'm not going to target the big guys, I'm going to target the small guys, and maybe you're going to be affected with the pricing, but it's like saying you want to grow, but you cannot go for the big guys at the first place. You go for the small guys, like that niche, just concentrate on that niche, of small guys, not the big guys. We cannot be competitive enough.
I will tell you something. I will tell you something, Gadi, and sorry to cut you. I don't know if you had finished. But what I will tell you is, anytime you're selling to the so-called small guys, most of those small guys are selling to those big guys you're targeting. So especially because you are in export, I will give you advice, because I'm an exporter myself. Tom is also an exporter. So we also, when we started and we only sold to small guys. So what happens is, we did the market research from our last slide and found out that some of the people we are selling to our target, the people we are targeting to sell to maybe in 1 or 2 years or 3 years. So eventually we just approached those guys in one of the trade fairs and told them, so-and-so is selling you our product, and we are here. Why don't you just buy it from us? and you find that you are able to nail 1 or 2 customers, and the discussion you will have with them will be the volumes you can start with is X, and we can scale it up to Y, Z, and all that. Then when you go to your finances or to your investors, you can tell them, now I've gotten customer Y, and customer Y wants this volume. So please fund us so that we grow. Because the growth strategy, you cannot focus on the small guys forever, because then there's no growth. What usually happens is whoever you're selling to typically is selling to the big guy you want to sell to in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know. That's why it is. That is.
Yes.
I get your point. I get your point on that thing. But you have to start from somewhere. Okay. Thanks very much.
Yes, you have to start where you are and make sure that they know that with Gadi, we are going to get the quality, we are going to get the reliable quantities, because there is a reliability aspect as well. So if they order 5 tons every week, then, and you had agreed to 5 tons every week, then by all means deliver that. Because over time, the end customer usually asks, I want this batch that usually comes, let's say, on Friday. And on Friday, probably you are the one who is supplying. Then you will also see increased interest from the small buyer or the small guy you're selling to, because he will keep ordering from you. That way, you know that the feedback from the end consumer or the end buyer is quite good. And that is the way now you start checking, okay, where are they selling?
Okay. Yeah.
And that is the way now you grow over time. And then once you move to the next level, just understand that your competitors are going to be different. Then your strategies must be different. Then the packaging, like Christine was telling us, the competitors' packaging is excellent. You start packaging, you start branding, you start, doing other things that probably you're not doing at the lower level. Does that answer you?
Thanks a lot. Yeah, it answers my question. Thanks very much. Good.
No problem. We'll go to the next session for now. Quite good. The rise of internet and direct channel. And we had started even talking about this when we talked about WhatsApp. We talked about websites. Nowadays, there's social media handles. Every company has an Instagram, and there's a Facebook, whether it's X account, there is TikTok, there is Snapchat. There is all manner of things. And I'm sure every year something new will come. And this is something that you cannot ignore in this day and age. So most people are on their phones. There is online buying of things. It's no longer just, have to physically go to the market. People are delivering right to your doorsteps. We have amazing stories like the Amazon. I'm sure locally in different countries, you also have online stores, online deliveries. You have some equivalent of Amazon, or in Kenya, we have Jumia. Jumia is also in West Africa and all that. So online grocery shopping has attracted, retail giants, people who like grocery used to be thought to be something that cannot be done online. But Amazon showed us that it can be done online. It is very fast. The customers that are coming up don't want to get out of their house. Or even if they want to get out of their house, they want to go do other things. So they want the convenience of these things delivered to them. People, you've seen the rise of online checkouts. You've seen the rise of self-checkouts and all that. These are all made possible because of internet. So that even the store reduces its costs, and once you can supply, they can order from you online, you deliver, they distribute it even without involving as many staff as they used to before. So e-commerce is the fastest growing retail market in Europe right now. UK, Germany, France, Sweden, I'm sure many other markets. In the UK, retail analysts believe that the online share will get to, it's now 2024, it probably already got to 20-25% and probably going up. We will check that and update. And you will see that in Europe, of course, I think Tom had shared that the market is about 47 billion euros. Market share of e-commerce is about 1.1. It was 1.8 in 2018. Today it's 2.5 and probably more. It's supposed to grow 152%. And this, you can get this from the Consumer Goods Forum. And you'll find that established retailers, even now everybody has their online shop competing Amazon. Even within Kenya, you'll find Carrefour as their online shop. Tesco as their online shop. If you go to different countries, I mean, every supermarket has their online shop. You don't need to go to the store anymore. And that is a trend and it cannot be ignored. So you need to figure out how you play in that space for you to win. And if we look at this, let me just move this from my screen. If you can still see my screen there, you'll find, let's look at the regions a bit. Asia, North America, Europe. The online turnover, as I was telling you, used to be 3.4 share. The turnover was about 1.101 million dollars back then. Now it's 299, and that growth is almost 200%. And if you look at the online share, the share has gone up. The share of the market has gone up almost double. North America, we see the same story. Europe, I mean, the trend is the same. And I'm sure, sorry, it's not million, it's billion of dollars. So there's a lot of, like I was saying, strategic collaborations, retailers. Like I was telling you about, every retailer now has an online shop. And then artificial intelligence, which has just come up now, it's very rampant. Everybody's using that to check what does the consumer want, where, what is convenient for them, what is not convenient for them. So even the most traditional of retailers are getting into this thing because they know without it, they fall dead in the water. Okay, so we've talked about the suppliers opening their own offline stores and all that. Now, who is shopping online? Are your consumers shopping online? Mr. Abraham?
Pardon?
Are your consumers shopping online?
Oh, yes.
What is sort of their age group, if you know, what the demographics of these customers are?
Oh, most of them, especially with I do this dry mango. The dry mango is the youth that really like the products, so they normally buy online. And then the ladies too, from the ladies too also do online this because of the taste of the product.
I like the fact that you've identified the demographics by the age, by the gender, there is by location, there is the demographic has very many characteristics by region and all that. You'll be surprised, or maybe you know this, that the median age in Africa is about 19 years. So you have a very young rising population. And probably if you go to places like Asia, Southeast Asia, it's an aging population. So the demographic, studying of your demographic is also very vital, especially in this. And you'll find that also different social media, like the online, the consumer who is on Facebook is different from the one who is on Instagram.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Even the way you do your postings should be different. But again, that is a whole marketing class on its own. And what we wanted actually to ask you in this session is, your consumers, you've said, are buying online, and what percent of the generation? Abraham has answered us a bit of that. But if I asked on the fresh produce market, export-wise, you realize Europe is the one lagging behind. America is way ahead. Asia is way ahead. And probably Europe is going to wake up to it and also go way ahead. So look for a way to take advantage of this, so that your customers can get you your website, they can buy from it direct, click the orders, and you just process it and all that. Now, let's look at the numbers. Consumers likely to shop online. You'll not find 75-year-olds on the internet shopping. That is typically the guys who are not doing that. A lot of older 55 to 75-year-olds are getting in. 40 to 55-year-olds are quite a number now, but 20 to 40 are almost 61, 62%. They are quite digitally engaged, and this is something you cannot ignore. This is data in 2018. So I'm sure if you refresh this data, is probably it's going to be much, much different than what you see on the screen.
Okay.
And like I was telling you, develop your company brand on the internet.
Okay.
So you have different social media channels. Like I was telling you, there is X, there is, which was formerly Twitter. There is Instagram, I've told you about that. I've told you about Facebook. What the audience that are in these different channels are very different because of the behavior of those different platforms. Most of the younger people are on TikTok, and then the slightly older than those guys are probably on Instagram, and the people who are our age and above are mostly on Facebook.
Yeah.
And some of them are in all of those platforms. But you cannot post, or you cannot, develop your marketing strategies to be the same on all the platforms. What I'm trying to say is that there are free channels that you can use to market and to give yourself visibility. And to answer Gadi, I think you was asking earlier how to compete with the big boys. Sometimes this is the way. You package yourself very well on the internet or online, and you're able to take on even some of the biggest guys. Because we've seen people rise from nothing and then selling all manner of things online, and they grow because they are consistent, they're reliable, and their story is compelling. This is where you use these platforms to tell your story in a manner that is compelling for the customers to buy or to engage with you. These are the places you can advertise yourself at very cheap prices. You can show the certifications that you have. You can share the stories that you have with the farmers, how you are engaged, how sustainable you are like we were being told about sustainability in some of the first sessions. So I think that was covered. We had some homework. This was given to you, trade channels and market segments. Any of you, were you able to tackle this assignment? It was posted on WhatsApp. And I also shared with you individually on your WhatsApp. It was posted on the WhatsApp group, but I also shared with you individually. Were you able to look at it, Abraham?
Yeah, I was able to look at it, but I didn't make preparations for the assignment.
Okay, and Gadi, were you able to look at it?
No, I was traveling, sorry.
Okay. Christine?
No.
Okay, so I think this one is something that you'll still need to do, and I also think it's on the e-learning platform. It helps you because once you know the trade channels and the market segments, then you can know where you're playing, and then you can know who you're playing with in that segment, and you can know how to get out of that segment into a bigger one if you want. And also you can know how to improve the channels or get to a better channel if it is useful for you. So we would probably encourage you to go through this assignment so that it is better to discuss it when you are here.
Okay.
So this one we had also talked about where you need to use, so I'm assuming this was also not done, where you can use the Google to identify your producers, suppliers. This is something that you can do even on your independent time. And I would encourage you to do this because, like I was telling you, this training is it's a manual to guide you on what to do towards market access. It's a free sort of marketing class for you to go and figure out where you are. So make use of Google and get to know your suppliers, producers, competitors, customers, demographic that you're serving, what are the current news, how is the market moving, all that.
Okay.
This is something that we have done, and this was the other exercise that was given. And this looks like we'll have to just do it here like the other one. So this was the company product placement. And when we looked at it, there was a main, you remember the channels? I think the guys who were in the last class can recall. And the exercise was simply to select one key product for 2 countries. Now, in this case, maybe for yourself, and suggest solutions to improve efficiency. Now you realize here you must first of all know, are you a producer to a consumer? Do you know whether this product is producer, retailer to consumer? So I don't know if this is something you want to do in this class, Tom, but given that the members are here, probably you can have a chat with it. What is your suggestion?
Sorry, thank you very much, Edwin. Thank you so much for taking our colleagues through the session. This is part of what was supposed to form part of the presentation today. And again, as the feedback that we ought to have given to the participant to be able to get their grades, because it is actually assignment for this particular week. So what I can say is that I realize it wasn't actually done, but there is no problem. You could spend beginning tomorrow and over the weekend and have it submitted. Remember, next week is actually the last week, and the last day of next week will be Thursday. And then after Thursday, that weekend that follows Thursday, we'll be finalizing all the marking for all the assignments, including the quizzes that are supposed to be done through the portal. So yes, if it's not been done, it has to be done because it forms part of your grading system. So that's what I would say. Right now, perhaps if maybe it could have basically just be a discussion, and then thereafter we use it as a takeaway that we'll then be able to submit at the end of this session. So that's all I can say, Edwin.
Okay, no problem. So I think the members agree. So the participants take time, because again, this thing is, we don't want to do it haphazardly in this session, but I'd like this one to be done also as an assignment so that we don't, basically just to give you a guidance is just select one of your products, like Gadi selected avocado. I think Christine selected her monstupis. Abraham selected the dried mangoes, and check which channel it can go through. You can simulate if you do not know what others are doing. You can simulate even for your own self. How do you, like, now let's probably, it's a good session time to answer Gadi. How do you move from what you are today, whereby you're probably a producer who is selling to an agent who is selling to a wholesaler who is selling to a retailer, and a consumer? How do you move then to maybe this channel where you are a producer, you sell to a distributor, to retailer, consumer, or you jump to a producer selling to a retailer direct, then to a consumer, or you just get to a point where you as a producer sell directly to a consumer? I think that is what you need to go and look at, and what it takes to get there. What are some of the advantages? What are the disadvantages of these kinds of things? I talked about costs. I talked about some of the risks in some of those channels. There are markets where you have language barriers. There are markets where you do not know the regulations. So selling directly to a consumer might be risky. Then there are markets where you do not know even where to sell, for example. So that's where we have some unscrupulous traders running away with people's monies because you thought you knew this market, somebody's registered, there's an office, what is it called, address. But once you get to that country trying to chase your money, you realize that there is no such office. It was a briefcase company. So there are advantages to having a multi-layered channel of distribution or channel of supply. But then there is also some disadvantages. The more the layers, the less the margin you probably will get, obviously, and probably less risky. But again, you are not going to grow that way, because then you've really cut your margin and you have to play by the volume rather than the quality. No one cares about branding at that level. Okay, some people do care about branding, but you'll find that if you're selling to agents or brokers, they also want to do their branding. Then even the wholesalers want to do their branding. So your brand gets lost in between. But as you go down the channels, you find that if you're a producer selling directly to a retailer, you can do your own branding and all that. So this is, again, please do the research on it. We can present in the next class, or you can send it to us directly so that we don't take time in the next class going through this assignment. Is that clear for everyone? Is there questions that we can iron out?
Yes, it's clear. It's clear.
Yes,
Yeah, it's clear. It's fine.
Okay, great. Then I think we don't need to belabor the point. And then this is something also we had said on pricing, that you pick one product, different scenarios, different channels, again, tied to what we have just talked about. Pick one product and estimate the cost structure in Excel. So last class, I think, Christine, if you remember, we were talking about break down all the costs as best as you can, the direct and indirect per unit. That is the only way you can know what is a break-even price. This is the only way you can know what is a minimum price that you can sell. Like in the case where we're talking about minimum price guarantee, what is the minimum price guarantee that you can accept for your tobacco that was going to the floor? And this is this is the exercise that helps you to do that. And I would urge you not to do it for one product, you can do it for all your products. In our company, we have something called economic data sheet, and it has all the SKUs we've ever sold or we are selling, and what the costs per this unit entail. And you'll realize that sometimes, much as the price in the market is X, your cost structure doesn't just allow. So those are some of the things that we need to have a look at. And Tom, you have a question?
Hello?
Okay, Tom, I think, no, we could hear you. I don't know if you had a question or a comment.
Yeah, not at all. I basically just want to emphasize the fact that this is actually very, very critical because for those of us who actually attended the session that we had on Tuesday, there was a lot of emphasis on getting the pricing structure right. Because you could actually be selling thinking you're actually driving huge volumes, but then by the end of the day, you're actually making losses. So this is a very important opportunity that we need to collectively look at and very seriously, to the extent that if we come back to the preliminary and we realize the costing structure needs a bit of some tweaking, then yes, we'll get the opportunity to actually crack it and be able to give you the correct directions that we really appreciate. That then when you hit the road running, you will be in a position to make profits. I am not saying that you're not making profits. I'm not saying that you're not getting it right, but I'm just emphasizing the fact that it is actually important to zero in on this to be able to know exactly the position that our current performance actually is reflecting. So take a look at it, and if there is a problem, even before Tuesday, kindly just reach out to us for any assistance that may arise. Thank you.
Great. So I think that was going to the questions. We have our next meeting the 6th of March, which was today. I think we were to do these slides last week. We were not able to. So our next class is on Tuesday, as Tom is saying. Tuesday next week, I think the date is, let me just confirm the date here. Next week on Tuesday would be 11th.
11th.
So our next class is on 11th, same time. And remember to do the assignment. It's also a point here because, as Tom was telling you, these are the only ways we're able to verify that you're following. But it is not just for us. Usually when I take these classes or I take participants through these classes, it's not just to get the certificate. And I'm hoping that they are able to apply some of these things that they're learning here into their businesses. Like pricing is a very big factor. Thomas just mentioned it. You don't want to be selling and not making profit. You want to know your position. How do you negotiate? You cannot negotiate if you don't even know what the value of your business is, or you don't know how you're positioned in the market and all those things. And I urge you that you take time, go through all this, listen to them, ask the questions you can ask. Basically, take advantage of it. I don't want to belabor that, but if you take advantage of this, you'll find that you have useful resources for all that you need to do. I don't think there is any much. Thank you very much. Anteni sana, obrigado. I don't know what you say in Zimbabwe, but Shona sounds close to Swahili. Nyabonga, I don't think. What do you say in Malawi, Gadi?
Zikomo.
Zikomo, I don't know if it is. I think probably it's in there somewhere.
It's not there.
It's probably in there somewhere. I cannot read all those things. And what do you say? What do you say, Abraham, as thank you in Ghana?
Midase. Midawase.
No, Abraham is coming up with a language as we speak because it cannot change just in 1 second. So what is the correct one? Midawase or Midase? Abraham. Abraham's network is terrible. So Zikomo is in Malawi, and then Midawase. What about Christine? How do you say thank you?
Midawase. It's Midawase.
Sorry? Christine, how do you say thank you? Could you hear Christine, Tom?
I was struggling. I was not able to hear what he said.
Yeah, there was something in the background. But today, I think we can probably wrap it up at this point, so that guys are going to take the assignments and do some of the work that we've talked about, so that we pick it up fresh. We don't want to introduce another topic in the next maybe 10 minutes or so. That would not be useful, so that we start afresh on Tuesday. Tom, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Edwin, for taking us through that very interesting session. And thank you so much, team, for joining in. That was really a very, very eye-opening session. And that then marks the end of Module 3, taken in week 3 of March of 2025, session 1. So really, at this point in time, I think we shall call it off and wish you well over the weekend. You enjoy yourself, but in between the weekend, kindly just consider and spend some time to do and finish your various assignments before we meet again Tuesday of next week for the last session of the training, which will basically be module number 4. We will strive as much as possible to open the tile 4 over the weekend, so that if maybe there is room for you in terms of time to get in, you can actually then do a bit of some reading to get a head start. And finally, those who have not gone to the Moodle platform to do their quizzes, this is actually the right time. It would be most unfortunate that Thursday next week we finish up, and behind the whole thing, we realize that we have actually not done our quizzes. We have also not done the assignment. It's not going to be good for us, because by the end of the day, the skills that are going to be acquired through this training are going to help your business in a big deal. And again, it's not a bad idea also to complete it, so that at least there is a confirmation through a certificate that yes, you did, you came, you participated, you passed, and you were given a certificate. So those are some of the emphasis that I would actually wish to lay emphasis on, so that as you break over the weekend, you please consider those. Otherwise, for now, bye-bye, and thank you so much for joining in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.